First of all, I don't know everyone, so I know everyone up here, but please introduce yourself.
Terry Kunkel, Government Policy Specialist for DCED, and
Mary Ammon, Local Government Policy Specialist, DCED. Make sure you use the microphone.
oh, sorry, Terry Kunkel, DCED, Governor's Policy Specialist.
And Mary Ammon, Local Policy Specialist, DCED.
And we just got new titles, I think. They're going to try to change our title. We're just going to be a government specialist, or government something, I don't know.
We took the policy out.
Yeah. So anyway, you guys asked us to come back and talk about home rule. We came in, was it January, I think it was, that we were here before? Time flies when we're having fun, right? So what I'm going to do here tonight is I'm just going to go through the PowerPoint one more time, and I'm sorry for the people out there that my back's to, but I'm going to go through the PowerPoint one more time, and then just kind of breeze through the things that I went through. I got to gather one thing. I brought props with me tonight.
Nice.
Okay, there you go. So home rule in Pennsylvania is it's a lot of times the third-class cities are the ones who initiate a home rule study commission and move to a home rule versus a third-class either city or third-class optional. Home rule transfers the basic authority from the state law, which is, and Mary's going to hold this up, the third class city code. We see how thick that third class city code book is. What a home rule charter does is then it becomes this. You're then governed by this home rule charter that addresses the things that addresses it. So you can see there is there's a sizable difference, but everything's covered. So it brings it back to the people. And home rule municipalities may exercise powers and perform functions, one, not denied by the U.S. Constitution, the Pennsylvania Constitution, and also state laws. Specific restrictions, and we'll go over that, and the laws that are uniform and applicable in every part of the Commonwealth. You can't touch those laws. Or the home rule charter itself. You can't go against your own home rule charter. Believe me, it happens. Transfers authority from municipal affairs from the state law, like Mary just showed the municipal codes, and puts it into the local charter that is approved by the voters. The beauty of home rule is it's for the voters by the voters, basically. That's why you form a study commission. And it, like I just said, it's decided upon. And once that home rule charter is drafted, the only way that it can be changed is once again a referendum question by the voters. Remember again, I just gave this presentation in the city of Bradford, and they're moving forward. They just had one of their first readings to put it on in the fall as well. And one of the people there said to me, you know, what is the positive thing about it? And I said, because it's for the people and by the people. Because only by the people does it get voted on to really even form a study commission. But anytime when the charter's drafted, the people have to vote again to even accept that charter to move forward. And if there's any changes made to it, once again, it's your people that vote. It doesn't go to Harrisburg or to the legislation to be voted on or wait for that. It's done by your people. And like some of the things I'm just saying here, I'm going to kind of go off script a little bit because we've already done this script. It's the opportunity, like I said, to shift the governance. It allows flexibility in structures, powers, taxation, and other functions of the municipality. Let's go into that a little bit. Because we had an email from someone here about unions. Home rule does not touch unions. Unions, that is not anything that home rule can do. One of the things, even in the city of Newcastle, we actually had a fireman that served on the Government Study Commission. He was a wonderful addition to that study commission. He understood the ins and outs of the government, and he brought a lot to the table. I enjoyed my time that I spent there with him on the Government Study Commission. And an opportunity to create a government that best meets the needs. Let's just talk about that for a little bit. The needs of the people are different. We're all kind of the same, but we're all very different. Erie struggles are different than Lancaster struggles. They're different than Pittsburgh or Newcastle or the city of Bradford that I just talked about. They're different everywhere. So the charter makes you be able to draft it better for actually, a lot of times your demographics. It identifies accountability, political leadership, professional administration. It enhances fiscal procedures and controls along with flexibility. It separates legislative and executive functions. Residual power. Let's talk about the admin code. What I showed you there was the charter. Then after you draft a charter, and if the charter is accepted and approved by the voters, the next is the administrative code. The administrative code is what says, it's an ordinance that says, what are the duties then? What are the duties, these positions that you've created or maintained? How long do they, stay in power? So there's a lot of things that go into administrative code. When you're drafting a home rule charter with a study commission, one of the things you always want to tell people is this. You have to remember that the home rule charter is voted on for the people and by the people, and it can only be changed by the people. So you want to make sure that the other things that you put in the administrative code, like qualifications maybe of a city manager, saying that if you put that into the charter where it says that that manager has to have a master's degree, I'm just using that off the top of my head because this is a good example, has to have a master's degree. If you put that in the charter, the only way that can be changed is by the people. And that's an extreme kind of example, but wonder if you get a good quality candidate that doesn't have a master's degree. So those are the kind of things that are the difference between putting it into an administrative code versus putting it into a home rule charter. You have more citizen participation, and you increase the responsiveness, and you have wider representation. Now, limitations, right there, arbitration and labor relations, that covers your unions. You can't touch that. Boundary change law, you can't touch that. Election code, ethics law, recall, reappointment, sunshine law, office of open records. You guys can read all of those. Vehicle code, firearms and hunting, municipal planning code. None of those things on there can be altered or changed in a home rule, in a home rule charter. Home rule considerations. The form of government. And I'm going to go over a little bit more about the Government Study Commission when we get into it, but I'm just going to, you can change your form of government. Taxation. You can't create a tax. So it's not like you can create any kind of tax that's not already, you just can't do it. And the other thing is that one of the things that's always, well, we can tax a lot of times this has to get squashed because it's like, okay, well, we're just going to add a tax to our commuters. You can't do that either. So just so you know, it's all within, the limitations might be gone, but people will say this to me, and especially the public, they'll say, and the people will say, oh, well, they can just tax us to whatever they want to, because there's no limits now. And we have a lot of home rule communities, and I can tell you this, all of you still vote for the tax increase, and what do you all do? You still own property and live here. So it's just typical where the majority of council, you never like to raise taxes until you absolutely positively have to, and sometimes it's too late, but it is true. So I've never seen the taxation go really sky high. So it may, but it's typically not the norm. And your operation and procedure codes, like I always give this, and I'm not going to read all those, but I always say right now you have two readings for your ordinances, correct? Some home rules take it to one. You know, those are the kind of things that can be adjusted and amended through the home rule or changed. And the form of action by the governing body, the publication effective dates, and ordinance codification. All of that can be all of that can be addressed in the charter. Here's just a list of the home rule municipalities and how the law that governs it to be able to be done. And you can see, of course, you guys all know Erie County is a home rule county. And there's 80 municipalities, and I think that number might have changed with Lancaster. That might now be 81 home rule municipalities. These are just samples, and I'm going to buzz through them of how the structure can change. And this PowerPoint, I think it was made available to all of you before. You still have it. But these are just, I'm not going to go into too much depth with these of how the structure of government can change. But I'll go over all of that when I talk about the Government Study Commission. But like I said, I'm not really going to get into this too much. I've already presented that to you. Taxation, it's the ability to adopt a new taxation system, not a new tax. More modern and efficient. I encourage everyone, and I didn't tell you guys this the last time, but Pennsylvania Economy League put out a really good study. And for all of you, I tell you to educate yourself on home rule. One, read the home rule publication that DCED puts out. It's phenomenal. I can see you have your copy right there. If you hold that up, that's a great copy of the home rule publication. It's common sense words, and I encourage the public to read it. It brings it all home, and it's really easy to understand. But I also encourage you to read the Pell study. It's not 1965 anymore in our taxation system. You know, it's antiquated. It's a good read. If anyone's like me, my witching hours are 1 to 4 o'clock in the morning, you know, where I have to have my notepad laying beside my bed that I'm going to talk about what I think about. And so it's good reading material. Home rule offers relief for the aging population because the EIT can be enhanced, the earned income tax on your residence, but it's never a large, you know, it's something where I say sometimes when that's increased in the worker, it's a $3 a week or $1 or $2 a week or whatever it turns out to be. We all buy a cup of coffee and a bottle of water, or maybe 1 or 2. I always tell everybody this. In 1970, if I would have told you I'm going to bottle water and sell it to you for $1.50, you would have all thought I was nuts. You know, but that's something we do today, you know. But what it does is your aging population, because increasing in EIT, you increase your tax revenue as people's wages go up. With your property taxes, it's basically stagnant based on the county assessment, and it's the older population that once they're retired are still paying for their real estate taxes, where if you continue to put stress on them, you want to keep. I'm almost there. I am almost at that retirement age. I want to be able to live in my home, you know, so it just lessens the burden. Like I said, there are the limits in Pennsylvania, and your third-class city is 30 mills, which you guys aren't even there. Forming a government study commission. Let's just talk about the government study commission as a whole, and I'll bring it up here at the end. We have if you guys remember last time, what are the duties of a government study commission? Let's just talk about it. It is a large undertaking for a government study commission. It really is. They're going to meet twice a week, maybe 3 times, or twice a month, maybe 3 times a month, moving forward. It's an 18-month process. So it's somebody, but how do you tell them, like, why do you want to do this? Because you have the power to change your city's movement moving forward. You know, it takes a lot of dedication, but it's also, you're really doing something powerful and impactful. But those people have to be dedicated. They have to be dedicated to this process. You have to find the right people that come in with an open mind, the right people that know, like, I'm going to study my form of government. Does it really work? Could we improve it? But those people have the ability to improve your form of government moving forward. And so Government Study Commission, it's a very, very important one. It's a long dedication. It should be somebody that loves their city, loves your city. I love your city. I camp here, I bike here, go down to the bayfront and eat, and so, you know, but you've got to have the people that love your city well to be able to come onto that. So that's why I challenge you, if you're really thinking about it, you all really need to think about those kind of people and ask them, could you do this? Do you want to serve? And serve your community and serve your people in the future. If they do, they have to get on the ballot. And you can see up there 5%, 2% of the voters in the last gubernatorial election are 200, whichever is less. And I'm pretty sure in your area it's going to be 200 on the ballot. So they're going to have to get 200 signatures on a ballot and get on the ballot. You've got to remember, whatever number you pick, 7, 9, or 11, whatever number you choose to go on the ordinance with the question, you got to remember that you want to make sure you have more than that many people that want to run and are really going to say, yes, I'm going to do this. Because if you don't, and you pick, say you pick 9 and only 7 get in the ballot, it is dead in the water for 5 years. It failed. So you have to make sure that you have those people that are going to be committed. I've sat on the Home Rule Study Commissions. I don't know, I'm a government nerd, so like I enjoy it. But you've got to make those other people that are going to be committed to that process as well.
May I ask a question on that?
Sure.
So, I mean, you've been there for a lot of these. You know, the idea of not getting enough is always a concern. Have you seen, if we put the standard too low, if we only put 7, then it only takes 4 people to control the whole thing? Mm-hmm. Like, have you seen this go AWire because of too small of a commission?
No.
Okay.
No, what you want to look at is your representation for your city and how big you are, and just know that you have that number of candidates that you know are going to run, because there was a city that they did not run and it failed. So, you know, that's why I'm saying going into it, and that's why when we presented here the last time, you know, I think you guys kind of got my hidden message where I think, oh, it might be too soon, you know, maybe you might want to just, because you want to get the right people. And I thank you for that. I think you know, if you do decide to move forward with this, you're going to have more success because you have the time to educate the people about even getting on the ballot. You want to let them know that this is going to be a commitment. And one of the best things is in November. What are we all doing in November? You know, you try to form a government study commission in the summertime too. You've got people running all over the place. It might just be the better time for you. But you got to answer your question, you've got to think about how big your area is and how much representation do you want, and do you have the over excessive amount of people. What I try to institute too is, like, if you had 7 people or 9 and you had 14 or 15 people run, we always have to pick an alternates. So I always try to encourage the Government Study Commission when I'm helping them to form is, like, all those people that ran, they showed an interest. They should have them be an alternate, come to the meetings, stay involved, put them on committees, because you remember there's committees then too that are formed that's outside of the Government Study Commission as well. You've got public relations committees and budget committees, and this is a whole huge task. So to answer your question, you have to think about your city, okay. I think. And you've got to remember, we kind of hit it there. If home rule fails, you know, you're done. You're done for 5 years. It can't go back on as a referendum. It takes a lot of public education, and it even takes the public education part prior to even putting it on the ballot. Think of this. Think if you didn't have anything to do with the city and you got in the ballot, and you know, like, I'm one of these where I like to read my ballot before I go, so I look it up, I look at the ballot, and how many people would really understand that question if we didn't get out there and start doing pre-work as well? You have to do your pre-work too. If it does pass, the Government Study Commission it's not like they're going to organize on January 1. From the day of the certification of the election, they have 10 days to take oath and 15 days to organize. at their first organization meeting, and that's when the clock starts to tick from the certification date. They have 18 months, but it starts to tick then. So within 9 months, they have to decide whether or not they're moving on. But that's why it's called the study commission. You're not coming in to say, okay, I know I'm going to do this. This is the way it's going to go. Just come in open-minded. Like, I'm going to study how our form works. Let's figure it out. And then let's study everybody else. And we have home rule municipalities that we schedule with and that have all the different kind of structures that you talk to, that the study commission talks to and takes notes. And you can form different committees to come back to the major committee and say, this is what they discovered. This is what works for them, what doesn't. And or when you're studying your own, your first is to study your own. The first homework for a government study commission is, Mary, hold a third-class city code up. Mary knows. I come in and I go, this is your homework. I want you to read this, because unless you read it from the ground up, you don't really understand how it works. Because why are they doing this? Well, there's laws in here they have to follow. So the Government Studies Commission's first homework is read and understand the third-class city code. So it, like I said, it goes back to where it is arduous, but it is also fulfilling. And I am sure that there are more government nerds out there than just me. So anyway, within 9 months, they decide, like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to draft a charter. Typically, if you start with this process, I'm just saying typically if you start with this process in their 15 days with their first organization meeting, then Christmas comes along and they really get at it right after the first of the year. You're looking at, usually by May, they know, like, this is what we're going to do. And then they present the letter to council, we're going to move forward. And then at that 9 months, then it starts to tick again, that they have 9 months to draft the charter and present it to council. Then it goes back on the ballot, because then the people approve it. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of education. There's a lot of education to it. A lot of holding sessions with your different groups, the senior centers, to explain to people what it truly is all about. So basically, and then it'll tell you when it becomes an act, because in that charter, then there's always a transition piece to it. Let's go back first and talk about there are consultants that work with, because there'll be a budget for this Government Study Commission. They have to present a budget to the council, and the council, has to take a look at the budget. Do we have the money? I think we talked about that last time with the budget, and I think we talked about if the City of Erie comes back into the Strategic Management Program plan, that could be funded for a consultant to, if it does pass, to sit on board with you through a grant. Because you need a consultant. I'm a government nerd. I know third-class city code, second-class township code, first-class township code, and borough code. But I'm not going to sit down and write you a charter. That is a totally specific.
You said you're retiring soon, right?
You're going to hire me as a consultant. So anyway, but there are just certain professionals that are really, because you think about that, you're taking that third-class city code and you are developing it into this. It is a very, very specific professional talent. So you put that out for RFP. Now, the good thing is the government study comes on board. Mary said she was going to hit me with a pen, but, I'm not your policy specialist anymore. Mary is. And the only reason why I'm standing here talking is Mary's fighting a cold, and she couldn't probably speak for any longer than 2 or 3 minutes without coughing. So, but anyway, Mary's. We sometimes at DCED sit in the first couple months of that policy, when they're just studying their form of government, to try to guide them until you can get a consultant on. So just so you know, like, the Government Study Commission is not going to be left out there just, because they'd show up and say, what do we do? So we do try to guide them in the beginning, in the first couple months. After the transition period, I told you you write the administrative code, and then you have so long to codify your ordinances. And so basically, these are just, like I said, these are good places to find some information. And if you, let me just see here. Let me hit the, what's that? I am trying to escape. Yep, there we go. Thank you. And I don't have my glasses on, so I'm trying to even find the mouse. Now I'm stuck again, Renee, with the mouse not working. Oh, there it goes. I got my red light now. We're good. This is a very, very good draft of the duties and powers of the Government Study Commission that I crafted. This is a really good, and Renee, I think, did I give you guys you might have got a handout of this the last time. Yeah, you do. This is a good thing to pass on to anybody who may show an interest, because it goes over how involved it is, what their role is, and it's just a really, really good handout to give to somebody, along with the home rule publication with DCED that Mary just showed you. And they can get the third class city code online. They just do a search, DCED third class city code. The beauty of being online is Control F is your best friend to find whatever you're talking about. So, so anyway, I think I'm just going to end it there, and just to know that it is a commitment, but it's a commitment that you have the ability to improve your city in the future. It really is. So for whoever the candidates are, I think the thing that I would really tell them is, this could be benchmark. You know, we became home rule. You helped draft this charter. You had an input. You know, you may not be the people in the pictures, but you're going to be the worker bees, and they're the people that get it done. I always say Mary and I are not. I always tell everybody, even our new hires, I always say, if you want to be the person in the picture, this isn't the job for you. We're the worker bees. We're here to help you. We're here to serve the people. So I'll just turn it over now if you guys have any questions or.
Any questions from anyone?
What kind of people can be involved? In other words, council people, the current administration, what kind of folks are barred from doing it?
Being on the
Nobody?
Government Study Commission?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. It's bipartisan. You just get on the ballot and fill out your petition.
So even though we hold office as city council people?
And
we
it's
could
been
be
done.
on that?
It's been done in the past. It has been done in the past. You just really have to come in with a non-biased approach, because you know you have to draw that line. You know, like I said, we've had city firemen be on the Government Study Commission. You know, some employees,
I
and
know county council is barred from being a part of anything like this,
right.
because they're already under home rule, I guess.
No, there's been council people serve on the Government Study Commissions before.
Okay.
But you know, you have to circulate your petition and get on the ballot. So, but that wouldn't be now until August. So you have time to really get out there and educate the public if you do decide to draft the ordinance and put it on the ballot. And like I said, you've got the time now to go out and educate the public and get your good recruits that are truly interested and are going to dedicate 18 months to this project. 18 months go by quick. Don't they? I mean, they always said the older you get, the faster it goes. And yeah, okay, well, it kind of does.
So let's say, you know, we do the homework, we get the word out, and so in November, there's a referendum that says, do you support the Home Rule Study Commission meetings?
Sure, yeah.
And let's say 10 people vote yes and 30 people vote no. So
It's done.
it's done. Right then and there,
It's done.
it's done.
Even if you do get, because then it'll ask you to select 7 or 9 of the 15 candidates. Let's hope you get 50. I hope you get 20 candidates. You know, I really do. And, you know, it shows that you did your job and got out there and got the word out and people are truly interested. But yeah, if that question fails, it's done for 5 years. It doesn't go back on.
And you've been in a situation where you've seen the commission that has been formed keep the government the way it was?
There has been that they might tweak it a little bit, but I've seen them keep it the way it is and still move on with the charter, but maybe just tweak the structure a little bit. But yeah, you do see that. You see it. It's just it all depends on the Government Study Commission and what they feel as far as. That's why it's important to make that good selection for the people, or encourage those people to run for the Government Study Commission. That are going to come in with open eyes. That'll give you a fair opinion.
And it doesn't matter what party they're in, independent, anything, whoever gets the most votes goes into this commission.
Mm-hmm. Whoever gets the most votes, absolutely.
Terry, could you elaborate on the importance of the alternates and what they're responsible for?
Yeah, the alternates, when I touched on that a little bit about the alternates, I always encourage, what happens is, I haven't served on one yet that people don't drop off. Life happens. A lot happens in 18 months. So I always encourage everyone that was on the ballot, I encourage the Government Study Commission to allow them all to be an alternate by the number of votes they got. So the highest number of the alternate would be the next person to come on board. But the importance of the alternates too is they can serve on the committees then. They don't have a vote, but they have an input. And they can serve on plus they have to stay. If the alternate, though, I always say, if you're going to be committed to be an alternate, you definitely know that you're going to participate in all of those meetings, because I don't want to come in here in 6 months or 4 months and say, oh, we got to replace so-and-so because something happened. Well, where have they been? We got to catch them up. You want the alternates to be involved in it so that they're aware of the whole process, so in case they do have to step up. But like I said, the beauty of it is you can use them on the committees, on the subcommittees, to keep them participating. So alternates are very important. They are. We've exhausted a lot throughout, because like I said, 18 months, life takes over. Any other questions? Yeah, there's the different committees. You have some of the commissions will split up, and they'll like this committee will take and interview these 3 cities or these 3 home rule charters, and then they'll all make their notes and come back with how they felt like this worked. So some of those committees, you have a budget committee, because the budget committee is going to have to sit down and say, what are we going to spend here? Public relations committee that's just going out there and like Mary alluded to, in Mill Creek, they're going to do the Rotary clubs and the senior centers and get out there. This takes a team. So these committees can be there. You might have the consultant come in and it'll be like, well, we need this committee, and then they'll form that committee. But it always is a member of the study commission, and then sometimes you bring in those. Sometimes you bring in those alternates to help serve, or there might just be public out there that wants to come to your meetings. You've got to remember the Government Study Commission, like it said in there, they have to follow the sunshine laws, the open records laws. So all the meetings are public. Where you're making the decisions and everything. When you form the committees, of course, they're not always a public meeting because they're doing a job. There's not ever a quorum. But they bring those reports back to the public meeting. So it's a huge wheel, and the hub is the 7, 9, or 11 people.
And they do not get paid. The only person who gets paid is the consultant.
Yeah. And that's not going to be me. I'm almost 65, not quite.
Could you also talk about Act 47? Because there's been some confusion among some folks
Okay.
about Act 47 versus home rule charter.
Okay. Act 47 and home rule are totally different. Act 47, people just, and I see it and I hear it, and there's actually, if you, Chapter 2 of the Act gives you criteria. I think there's 12 bulletin points that you have to come, that you come in under to be Act 47. But Act 47 is not anything we take lightly at the state. Act 47 is we take a look and we look at you and we think, okay, are you Act 47? Are you really coming into Act 47? We've denied some people Act 47 entrance, because it just wasn't time. And nobody wants to be Act 47. I always say when I do my presentations to government, and I give my little folder and on my introductory, and we come to all our programs, and I always go, Act 47, that's where no one wants to be. Because that is when the state comes in, and we want to stay out of, we want to help you stay out of Act 47. And it's harder and harder. You know it for the third-class cities. You provide all the services, and it's harder and harder to sustain. And so we want to keep you out of Act 47, and home rule is a start to that.
You brought the Newcastle one as an example. Now, they went home rule charter as
an exit. That was part of their exit
from Act 47.
Yeah, they were.
Go
ahead.
Can you just let us know how common is it that a third-class city uses home rule charter as an exit from Act 47?
It's always a recommendation.
Always the recommendation. Okay.
To go home rule coming out of Act 47. We talked about the tax structure and the antiquated system that it is. That's one of the things that help that, because you got to remember, in Act 47 they already have enhanced EIT, and when they come out they lose it.
Yeah.
So we want sustainability. So it's always, and that was an initiative, that was an exit plan initiative, was to do home rule. And it was successful. They had a lot of good people on their government study commission. They worked hard. They worked hard after they started to draft the charter. They worked hard at identifying how they were going to publicize it, how they were going to work it, how they were going to let the people know that this was the best thing for their city.
Since it's, as you said, always an exit for third-class cities coming out of Act 47, do you see this as a strong preventative tool to prevent us? Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So like I said, in the city of Bradford, I just spoke to them, I think, last Tuesday or Wednesday. And this Tuesday, they put it on for a first reading. And there was a lot of public there. I was really impressed. The public had some really good questions, and so it's not always a negative thing, but you've got to work together. You have to work together as council and administration and let the people decide.
So anything they come up with and devise is voted on then
Again, by the people.
by the people.
And it has to pass by the majority. And that's where the public education piece comes in before it goes on to the ballot. And now the public education piece is now too, if you're really seriously thinking about this.
I was just going to comment that my biggest concern was that we had the time constriction of the May primary, and now that we have the general, you answered a lot of the questions that I feel like the community had as far as the unions and if the voters will get a chance to vote on it
Absolutely.
or against it. So for me, I just wanted to know if any of the council people who had a no vote had any questions that they wanted to specifically get answered today, because this is the point of the study session. Was any questions that we might have had or needed additional support, information on to, help with our decision making?
Biggest part of the decision-making is gathering that group of folks. You can't take Joe Doe off the street and hope that he or she may be able to understand what's going on.
Yeah, it's a lot of studying, like I said, and when you do, the good thing is I gave you that copy, what is their role? That's a good thing to pass out to them, this is your role. The good thing also to tell them is, just do a search, DCED home role, and that publication pulls right up. That is the beauty of that publication and that little 2-page flyer, or 2-page Word document that I gave you guys. That 2-page Word document kind of sums up the home rule charter book as far as their duties and powers. And that's something that I always give a new commission that just forms, as well. So have them do that. Have them pull up the third-class city code and look at everything in the third-class city code. And remember, Control F's your best friend if you just want to look at taxation, or you want to look at whatever the elected positions are and what they do and what their duties are supposed to be. They need to familiarize themselves, because their first homework plan, now I don't know if I'll be here, Mary will probably be here, she's going to gouge me with the pen on the way home, but anyway, that's going to be their first order if I form that committee, is educate yourself first. How do you know if you go in and study something when you don't know what the basis of it is? And the basis, hold it up again, Mary, is the third-class city code. There it is. So.
And there's a lot in here.
That's what I said. I said Mary and I's positions, and it's all different, first class, second class, third class city, county 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I said it, and I always tell everybody this, and I'll leave you guys with this. I always say in government, and Mary was the one who really initiated this, and we've added to it. It takes you 5 years to learn government. The first year you're going, I'm doing this, and for how much money? The second year you go, wait a minute, we did that last year. I kind of remember, I saved a copy. The third year, you know enough to be dangerous that you go back and you correct all the mistakes you made the first 2 years. And then the fourth year, you think, oh, I finally got this. And the fifth year, guess what? At the state, we change the way we do everything, and you learn all over again. So, but I think you guys have time now. I hope that we answered all of the questions that were disturbing people about it. And we're available. You have our email addresses. It's on the PowerPoint. If you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out. That's what we're here for.
Any other questions or concerns?
They got a long drive home.
Well done.
Do everyone
Only
have-
2.5 hours.
Do everyone have your contact information?
It is. It's on the back of the PowerPoint that you guys had, but I mean, I can give you mine and Mary can give you hers. Mine is T. Kunkel. It's just my name, TCUNKLE @pa.gov. Mary, go ahead with yours. Oh, Mary has cards. Look at her. She's getting good. She's going to give you a card.
I was going to say, you're retiring, so I think we all
I'm not
Oh,
retiring.
okay.
I just got moved to the center portion
Okay,
of the
all right.
state. I'm
But-
still around.
But you're the contact person?
I'm probably going to beat her to retire. She just doesn't realize it.
Yeah, no, and who knows? I told you I'm a government nerd. I like my job. No, I'm not retiring. I always just say I'm close to that age,
Oh,
and
okay.
but no, I am not.
But
I like
she's-
my job.
Are you taking over the okay. all right.
Yeah, I just moved. I took
I'll
the
take one of your
center
cards.
portion.
I'm sending
Okay.
them around, I think. And, Mill Creek is going through a form of this, and they meet twice a month. I mean, if you really want to sit through a meeting or look at it online, I mean, it shows you the structure, because all their alternates show up at every meeting. They are part of the meeting, they are part of the committees, and they do have citizens on their committees as well. So they definitely have a group of people involved.
I was going to ask Art, because I know you talked about educating yourself, and, just, Dr. Titus, you probably know some students love to study and some study some and some wait to the last minute. Can we organize study sessions like with all the people so that they don't have to try to just educate themselves, educate the group together. Because
Sure, if you want to have those kind of meetings, that, you know, be more than happy to come back to do like an evening, say like, we want to educate you, whoever wants to show up, DCED will be here to help tell you what your position's going to be. More than welcome to do stuff like that throughout the course of the summer here, whenever you decide you want to put the ordinance on. We would be happy to do that, wouldn't we, Mary?
Yes, we would.
Oh, absolutely. That's what we're here for. It's about transparency, it's about education, and because that's what it's all about. It really is. And I'm like you know, like Mary always says this, and I tell people, Mary will always say, we need to put it in crayon. And sometimes you just need to put it in crayon. Sometimes I need it in crayon.
I mean, my home rule is highlighted in color, in different colors, because some things are more important than others. But, I mean, I read it 3 times to understand it. So, you know, there's no shame in asking a question, because I'm constantly calling someone saying, is this right?
And sometimes I get it wrong. We all do. We're all human.
I did try to recruit one of the folks that is currently on the Mill Creek thing. And he didn't say nice things back. He said, it's a lot of work. It's
It is a
tough,
lot of work,
and I'll
yes.
never do it again. So we
Oh,
gotta
and then
get
I
some-
have people that love it too, that just
Yeah.
enjoyed their time with it. They enjoyed learning.
Oh,
They
sure,
enjoyed
it's
learning
good.
how their government functioned. Do you remember, I don't know, there's some younger people up there, but you remember the I'm a Bill? Do you remember that little movie where I'm a Bill on Capitol Hill? Yeah, you know, I remember that as a kid. So we need to bring I'm a Bill back. But yeah, some people do enjoy it. Like I said, there's other government nerds out there. You're all here. Right?
Right.
Well, hey, thanks for having us back. I hope we really drew some clarity, and happy to come back anytime when you want to do like maybe a public outreach, come learn what it's about. We'd be happy to do that.
I mean, I think a lot of the worry just comes down to the duties and powers / responsibilities on what is expected of you. This is just not a board to sit on because
No.
you can.
Right.
This is something that's going to be a lot of expectation for
Yeah.
you to go and study and do a lot of reading so you can condense that big book into that handout.
At the guidance of
Yeah.
a consultant.
So as
yeah.
long as people understand that it's going to take 18 months, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have a lot of responsibilities. You're going to have to circulate a petition and get 200 signatures to
Right.
then be on the ballot.
Right.
And we want more than less people.
Right.
So that we can have alternatives. Then we should have a good ground to recruit some people, or at least get them engaged in the conversation.
Absolutely, engage the community, and like you said, I think that's an excellent idea to do those little public workshops and outreaches. That is a really, really good idea.
I think, yeah, that way you'll see who's interested.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Can I put you on the spot and
No. I do. Do I feel like I'm on the spot now?
could you give us a suggestive number of people that you would suggest for Erie?
No.
I mean, I personally like the number of 9 because that's in the middle of the 7 and the 11. And if we ask 15 people to go, and, you know, we'll have a bunch of alternates. But I think it just comes down, we want more representation, not less. And there's 7 council members, so maybe this group should be 9, just so that it's in the middle.
I think you read between my line with the size of your city, you know, the representation from the size of your city. And I sit on the fence because sometimes less is best, but sometimes you have to look at what's best for you.
Right.
So that's just something you guys are going to have to decide, but you got to remember the amount of people you put in there, you have to have that much interest. Because once you pass the ordinance, it's there.
Would you have to have a majority of members present to vote on an issue?
Yep. Just, you follow the open records, it's the majority. So if you put 9, you'd have to have 5 people.
Right.
Can they be targeted with specific concerns? Or have we just given them the whole enchilada and having them look at everything and?
Oh, yeah, they just take the whole enchilada.
Yeah.
You don't do anything. Once it's formed, it's just like they are their own entity, their own, you know, form of, you know, their own elected officials. You're, you know, like I said, they'll interview you guys all and go, and the administrative staff, and find, there, you know.
And a consultant will keep them on track.
Yeah, the consultant keeps it on track. And DCD, we can keep them on track until you get the consultant on board, because that takes time, because you don't know if it's going to pass or fail. You know, so when it passes or fails, then that's when you have to go out with RFPs, you have to do all that kind of stuff. So, and that's the city that would do that. You, as the city. Yeah.
Just reiterate the timeline of the 18 months and how that's broken out, what the responsibilities are the first 9 months of this.
Yeah, the first 9 months in Government Study Commission, up to, you got to remember, the key word there is up to 9 months. So if they decide in 5 months or 6 months that they're going to move forward, then they can move forward at that. But then that's when they have 9 months from there to draft the charter. So it's broken out into the 2 sections. They're given 9 months to study and 9 months to do the charter. Any other questions?
You ladies did great, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's always great to, I said, I miss my Northwest, I really do. But my husband and I, we come to Erie all the time. Like I said, this is one of my favorite places. We camp up at the Port Authority, and it's fun.
Great.
Okay, we thank you very much for your time and information, and we will move forward on it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Council, thank you very much.
Thank you.